Hi, I'm Becca and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these faux glass beads using two different brands of translucent clay. I'm going to be using Sculpey and Fimo. This is the Sculpey one and this is the Fimo. That's just the plain clay just baked on its own. I'm going to go through and show you about tinting and things like that, and the different ways that you can glaze them and different effects that you get. These ones have just been glazed using Pledge Revive It, which is a much quicker way to get them all done. And then some of these ones I used a UV nail varnish or a UV resin on different ones. These have just got more of a high gloss finish. So just depending on what things you've got and what look that you're going for is which method you go for. So let's get into it and let me show you how to do them. Right, so this is just some Sculpey Primo translucent clay that I've just got rolled out on the thicker setting of my pasta machine, and then I'm going to tint this with a tiny little bit of blue. This is Fimo 38, I think. Yes, no, 33, sorry. And I'm only putting a tiny little piece in. Now I want these to look like glass, so I want them to look transparent. So I'm only putting a little bit of colour in at a time. I'm going to add this piece in, and then if it's not as dark as I want it to be, then I can always add some more in. It's harder to take it away out of it than it is to just add a little bit more in. So I'll go and get this blended and I'll come back. And so I've got that blended. Isn't as dark as I want it to be now, so I'm just going to add the same amount again, just to hopefully pick up that blue. So I want it to look like glass, but I want it to, you know, sort of have like a transparent, but I want it to have some colour with it. So again, I'm just adding that tiny little amount. I'll go and mix this and I'll be back again. Right, so I'm more happy with the colour tint that we've got. It's just a really nice pale blue. I've got it rolled out on the thickest setting. Now I'm taking my circle punch cutters that I've used on my faux pearl bead video, so I'm wanting some that are the same sort of size as what they were. I'll link the video below for you to go and have a look at. So just to make the same ones, I'm just taking one punch of it and just turning it into a little ball, and then I'll just pierce it with my needle tool. Now this clay is very soft because I've just mixed it, so it would be better to actually let the clay sit and harden up a little bit before you pierce them like this. So I just wanted to show you that quick time, but I'll do them off camera. And the other one I wanted to show is how to make some little leaves. So I'm just taking the same again. Could have actually used the other one, but never mind. And turn it into a ball. But I forgot to say this is the second smallest of the cutters. I think they're in a set of 4 or 5, I think, I remember it. So I've got my little ball of clay here, and then I'm going to flatten it into a disc, and then I'm just going to pinch the bottom so it's sort of in a teardrop shape. Then I'm going to take my needle tool and just press down the centre, and then I'm going to make some veins in it either side. Now you can do this on the front and the back, it's up to you. Okay, and just pinch it again back into shape. And then you can either pierce this from side to side, so going through that way. I'm not going to do it now with how soft it is, or you can just go straight through from front to back that way. So I'm going to do some of these and I'll get them I've put the holes in them. I can't think of what you call it. Pierce them. Get there in the end, and then I'll come back once I've done it all. So I'm just going to make a few of each of the ball beads and these little leaves, and I'll be back. just wanted to show you another shape bead that I'm going to do, because I'm getting quite a lot out of just that small piece of clay. So I've just rolled it up into a ball like I've done for the normal ball bead and the leaf, and then I'm going to make it into a teardrop. So I'm just holding it onto the palm of my hand, and I'm just using my finger at one end just to roll, so you get a nice teardrop shape. And there you go. And then I will, again, you could either pierce it going straight down, top to bottom, or from side to side. Now you could also flatten this out and just leave it like that, so it's pretty much the same as the leaf, but it's just a plain flat teardrop shape. So that's another one that you can do. I just thought I'd show you that while I was going through them all, so you've got more options, and I'll see you in a minute. I want to show you the difference in the translucent clays from the different brands. These are the two that I've got. I know there's other brands out there, but this is the Fimo translucent white. You can't get it any lighter than this, or if you can, I can't find it. And these one, you still can make faux glass beads with this one. This one, which is a sculpted one, which I've shown you already, does come out more translucent. I think it's probably just because of they've added the extra white into it, into the Fimo translucent. You can get different colours in this already, but if you've already got colours that you like, you might as well just buy the white one and then tint it for what you want, because the colours might not be exactly to the shade that you're wanting. So I just want to show you the two different ones. I'm going to go away and make some more beads with just the plain white translucent and some of the translucent, so you can see the difference from when they're baked. So I'll go and do that now, and I'll come back once they're baked. Okay, so the Sculpey ones have been baked. I've not glazed them yet. I'm going to do all of them at the same time. I just wanted to show you how this colour bakes up. It goes slightly darker than the colour that you've actually missed. I don't know whether if you can tell that very well on there, but it does go slightly darker. So when you are tinting your clay, make sure that you make it a shade lighter than what you're actually wanting, so that it comes out the shade that you actually want, because of it baking a little bit darker. So it's not a problem for me. This is how I'm wanting my beads, but if you're wanting them more translucent, like with not as much tint, then just don't put as much of the coloured clay in it when you're making them. So I'm going to go and get the rest of the beads finished, and I'll be back. I just wanted to show you some of the Fimo translucent clay that I've tinted into these four colours. I've got a project in mind that I want to use these colours for, so this is why I've picked these ones. But I just wanted to show you the colours before it's baked, and then I can show you afterwards what it comes up baked like, same as I did with the Sculpey. So I'm going to go and make some beads with these now, and then I'll come back and I'll show you once they've all made. Right, so there's two ways of glazing your beads, or there's two ways that I do it for when I'm doing these faux glass beads. And the quickest way is doing a load in one go and using Pledge Revive It. I have done another video on glazing, but I just wanted to do a quick refresher on it. So to do it this way, I've just taken a piece of really thin wire. I don't know what weight it is or anything like that, but it's really thin and it bends nice and easily to go into my jar. So I've already skewered all of my beads, and then I'm just going to slot one at a time on, and then in between each bead I'm using these bugle beads just as a little spacer. This is just to make sure that the beads don't stick together, because you don't want that. You spent all this time making all these beads and then they've got stuck together. And then once you've got them onto your strand of wire, you'd finish it off, and I just bend my wire up at the end like that. And then all I will do is I will dunk it into this Pledge Revive It, and then I will hang it off for a stick across box that I've got in my studio, and once they're dried they'll be nice and shiny, and I'll show you what they're like after, once they've done that way. Now the other way is to use UV resin, or a UV clear nail polish. So you might not have either of those, but I just wanted to show you your different options. Now I'm going to take the blue leaves that we've made, and need a chunk of scrap clay or just some blue tack or something. It's just to stick your pinning that your bead's going to be on once you've coated it with whatever you're coating it. So I'm just taking a T-pin, it can just be a normal pin, it's up to you. And then because this is what I've skewered it with, it should stick nicely in the hole. So you can see I've just skewered mine all at the top. And then the first one I'm going to try with my resin. So this is just some UV resin, and this, I think this was off of AliExpress. And then once you've used it, once you put some of this UV resin on it, they can go back in the oven if you need to rebake your beads into something else. But once it's ready now, I don't think this sort of bead you're going to need to be rebaking, but there's always that option. So I've just got an old paintbrush, and I'm just, so I've got a camera with it, and I'm just dipping it into the resin. You won't need a lot for these, and all I'm going to do is just coat the bead on both sides with the resin. And try not to put too much on, because then it may drip. You might fill your hole in that you've put into your bead, which you don't want. So, and then once you've done that, you want to take your glob of clay or blue tack, whatever it is that you've got, just stick it in there, and then you can put it underneath your UV lamp like this. Just make sure that it's not touching the sides. And then if you're using your UV clear nail polish, it's exactly the same, but your brush is already in with the coating, so depends on what you've got. So I use, but if I'm not making too many, then I might use my nail polish. But I've got big tubs of the glaze, so I might as well use it for this one. Just want to show you the difference. So coating it all the way around, and this will just give it that nice shiny look that glass has once it's been polished. Okay, so I'll put that in there. So I'll go and put these under the lamp, and I'll come back once they've been set, and I'll show you what they're like. Okay, these are all set. This is the first one that I did with the UV resin off of AliExpress. So you can see the shine on it, and that's what gives it that glass look. If you want them more transparent, then you just don't add as much colour to them, but this is the colour I wanted to use and get it to. But I will show you the ones that are baked with just the pure translucent with no colouring. And then this one's the one with the nail polish, and you cannot tell the difference. So depending on what you've got, you know, you can make it work. So as you can see, they both look just like glass. So it's a really quick way of doing it, and if you want them to have that glossy finish, you could also put extra coats on, just so that it gives it that more domed effect. So it's up to you, depends on how big you want your beads to be. So I'll go and glaze everything else, and I'll come back once they're all done. Okay, so before I show you all the beads that I've got finished, I just wanted to show you the two translucent clays without any colour in them. These are baked. I'll take them off here. Now this one is the faux. So as you can see, it's retained its whiteness to it. And both of these are not glazed or anything yet. I wanted you to see what it comes out of the oven like. And then this one is the Sculpey translucent, so it's a lot paler. So it's up to you as to which one you want to use. I have found that the female ones bake darker, whether if it's because I've just put a little bit too much colouring compared to the other ones, but when they're all glazed and everything, there's not much of that difference. So I'll put these to the side. I'll show you the ones that I made with you. So these are the original ones that I used, the Sculpey. Now these ones, I've used the Pledge Revive It to glaze, and those are very shiny, and that's just with one dipping into the solution. And then these I've done with the UV resin, or the nail varnish, I think it was a nail varnish one that I used. It was just a little bit quicker. So those are very shiny. So comparing the two types all together, just zoom in a little bit more and then you can see. So these ones have got a really high gloss, and these ones are still really shiny, and that's only one dipping. So you can put them in multiple times and you know, you might get them even more shiny and similar to what these are. It's just a quick way of doing this, but with these ones you've got to thread it onto something and then dip it in with it. So it's up to you, it depends on what you're happy doing with glazing your beads. So move these to the side. And then I wanted to show you so I've got them all in front of me because I couldn't get them all on camera. These are the ones that I made with the Fimo white translucent. I've not glazed these ones because of the project that I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting them matte. I quite like how these look. Oh, I'm dropping one there. Now these ones remind me of lemon pip sweets that I used to have when I was little, but they've not got as translucent finish to them. Like I said, it could be that I've just added a little bit too much coloured clay to it, but it was the same amount as what I put into the Sculpey. So maybe with a Fimo you've got to put just a little bit less than what you would doing with the Sculpey. But with the darker ones, you can't really tell that it's a translucent clay that I've used. So if they are varnished, it might bring it out a little bit more, but they don't look as translucent as what the Sculpey ones do. It's got a hint to it, but it's not as much as I want them to be. I want them to look like faux glass. So depending on what clay you can get hold of, depends on which ones that you can do. But you can obviously glaze these ones. These are just the same. It's just for the project that I'm using them in, I want them matte. And then I'll put these over here. Put them all in these little trays so it was easier to bring them on for you. Now these are just the Fimo translucent without any colouring, and that have been baked and glazed. I've got a separator bead in there and I don't want it in. There we go. So as you can see, baked on their own, they are quite translucent. It's just when you put some colour into the Fimo one that it seems to lose that more transparent colour that you've used, you know, to how you're wanting to do it. But these were all done with the UV nail varnish. These ones, so they're really nice and shiny. And then I'll bring the Sculpey ones in. As you can see, this is it's a darker translucent, but it does look more glass-like to me. I do prefer the Sculpey to the Fimo for the translucents. It does look more glass-like, and I am more pleased with the you know, the blue ones that we made. Those do look more glass-like to me, just because that's my personal preference over it. But I love these little so I am happy with how the beads have come out. I'm just disappointed that the white Fimo's just a little bit dark when you put the colour in. So when you're mixing your clays, just take that into consideration, that the Fimo ones are going to bake a little bit darker than what the Sculpey does if you've got both and you're wanting to try them. So I hope that's inspired you to have a go at making some of these beads yourself, and that it's been helpful. And if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. And if you've liked the video, if you could give me a thumbs up, that'd be appreciated too. And if you've not subscribed, if you'd know that, consider subscribing already, then that would be greatly appreciated too. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.